What a time to be alive if you're into handheld gaming. We have a device for everyone. We have the big powerhouse handhelds like the ROG Ally and the Steam Deck, and then we have the retro ones like the PS Vita and the 3DS getting rejuvenated through community support. And now at the more affordable end, the portable end, the everyday carry sort of handheld, we have the Miyoo Mini Plus. Is that not the absolute cutest thing you've ever seen in your life? Now, the Miyoo Mini Plus isn't the most powerful handheld on the market, but it might still earn a place in your lineup and also your heart. Let's get stuck in. Now, one thing I love about this device is straight out of the box, it's ready to rock. The packaging is really premium, it comes with a screen protector, and grey area though this may be, it actually comes preloaded with a ton of games. There are some emulator devices on the market like the Ambernic devices that do this, and then there's some like the Retroid Pocket Flip which don't. There's pros and cons to both, again, grey area, but I do like that you could turn the device on and there is no faffing about, you can just start to play immediately. It's very, very user-friendly in that respect. And putting your own games on there is very easy as well. It's just a matter of dragging and dropping into the correct folder on the microSD. Just make sure that you do own copies of everything that you do play so that it is a legal way to do it. The Miyoo Mini Plus comes with RetroArch built in, straight out of the box, so that's a very nice user-friendly way to organise all of your games. There have been reports that using different OSs like Onion, for example, will give you better performance at the higher end of emulation, but for my needs personally, I'm happy to leave it as stock. That might change in the future, but it seems pretty good to me out of the box so far. It's the form factor for me that just makes me smile. Much like with the Retroid Pocket Flip, I spent a lot of time on my DS and 3DS when I was younger playing Pokemon games, and then going further back still, I played so much on my Game Boy Color. I had a green Game Boy Color and my two favourite Pokemon games were Yellow and Silver, and I always wanted this colour of Game Boy Color and I never managed to get it. So young Emily is really happy that she owns this right now. And grey area, grey area, grey area. There is a lot of Pokemon games built into this straight out of the box. Just saying. I own them all anyway, so please don't come after me, Nintendo ninjas. I think the screen is absolutely lovely. It's about as small as I would like to get for an emulation device, and I think the colours are very vibrant and it's very, very good even in brighter conditions as well. The colours are that vibrant and nice that it sort of gives a new lease of life to the older style games. Even sort of Mega Drive games look very punchy and I think it's very, very nice to play on. I think the build quality on the whole is wonderful. I think the D-pad is very, very strong. The shoulder buttons on the back for this form factor are about as good as you're gonna get. It's a little bit awkward having them sort of stacked next to one another, but it does enable you to play certain games that need those on the PlayStation 1 that you wouldn't otherwise, so they're well worth having. It's also quite a nice, comfortable place to rest your index fingers when you're playing games that don't use them. Now, I did get a cute little case for it, and it does fit in absolutely perfectly, and there's space in there for your cables and things as well. But honestly, once I put my screen protector on, I can just see through this in a bag. I think it's robust enough and it doesn't have too many bits sticking out anywhere that I can just throw it in my bag and use it as sort of an everyday carry kind of emulation device. Before getting the Miyoo Mini Plus, I was most excited for the PlayStation 1 emulation. Just the idea of getting those games on something this small really interested me. But having used it for a while now, I think it does the PlayStation 1 games great. It's fun, good to have, but I really do like playing the Game Boy Color games and even the Mega Drive games. I think the nostalgia of this form factor and the punchy screen with the vibrant colours just makes the older Pokemon games and older games like Sonic, etc. really nice to play. And as I've said with the shoulder buttons, they are at the back here, and they're sort of stacked beside one another. Yes, you can use them in a pinch, but it's not necessarily something that I would go out of your way to play a game that really needs them. Games like Abe's Odyssey, for instance, or Metal Gear Solid might be a little bit tedious to play after a long period of time with those shoulder buttons. But certain games like Tekken and games on the PlayStation 1 that don't need the shoulder buttons, you're absolutely laughing. It's really good fun. If I was going to play a PlayStation 1 game that was a little bit more demanding in terms of the shoulder buttons, I would probably use my Retroid Pocket Flip or even my Steam Deck. They're nice to have on this, but it's really not what this device is about, in my opinion. Now, we don't have Bluetooth, I can't find it in the menu anyway, but we do have an AUX input for your headphones, and I think that's really good because the speakers on this are very loud, but if you do get past a certain point, they can distort the sound, and it's not the best speakers in the world. A lot of the games that I'm playing don't even need sound or just a little bit of sound for me to get on board with, so I would recommend using headphones if you are playing something that really does need the sound. And top tip if you do own one or if you're going to get one, I put my own copies of my own games on it in the appropriate folders, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to get them to show up, but it was a dead simple fix. All I needed to do was press the button in the middle, the sort of do everything button, and then there was an option that said refresh ROMs, and then everything pulled down and it worked. So if you can't find something that you've put on your device, that's how you get it to show up. Now, while the operating system is very simple, I do like that you can play with the themes. The default one looks fine, but there are a number of different themes that you can use to customize it and make it look like how you want it to. The battery life so far seems brilliant, about 5 to 6 hours. If you wanted to play a smaller device for that long, you could. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but then again, I used to play my Game Boy Color like that when I was a kid, so we just get a bit picky about ergonomics, I think, as we've got older. If you wanted to play this on a long commute, or if you wanted to dip in and out of games throughout a working day, you could. The battery life has been really impressive for me given the size of the device. One benefit of having things preloaded is, obviously I've got my games that I know and love, like my Crash Bandicoots and my Tony Hawks and all the usual suspects that I play on this channel. But there's a lot of arcade games that I haven't really heard of, and certainly a lot of like shooter arcade games. And one thing I've enjoyed doing with this device is I've enjoyed just sort of looking at the artwork, picking a game at random and experiencing something new. There's so many games out there, like you could spend the rest of your life playing all the ROMs on this and you would probably never get to the end of the list. And grey area, grey area, grey area. With the preloaded ROMs, I've had devices like the Ambernic in the past where you do get games with it, but the library is kind of pants and very obscure. So I like that they included a lot of popular titles that we all own anyway, so we don't get sued. Who's this device for? Here are the people I think should buy it. Do buy the Miyoo Mini Plus if you are looking for a very nice looking everyday carry sort of emulation device. Something that's small enough and robust enough to fit in any pocket. You don't have to worry about pinging off analog sticks because it doesn't have them. Something that you can take out and about, have a little bit of wear and tear, and a great battery life for a full day's use. Buy this if the form factor and the size and the retro design speaks to your heart like it does to mine. If you were a kid that always wanted the see-through purple Game Boy Color, then blooming buy one. You owe it to yourself. Buy this if you're not too fussed about it being too underpowered. If you are happy to play the older games and the more basic games and the games up to PS1, it's a great way in which to do this. If you're more interested in playing PS2 and things beyond that, like DS, etc., it might not be the right device for you. Buy this if you are not into tinkering, want to take something out of the box and just hit the ground running. It could not be easier to use, honestly. So what are the alternatives? If this isn't powerful enough for you, or maybe you don't quite like the ergonomics of it, I would consider the Retroid Pocket Flip. I have a full review on my channel and it's super cool. That device has the benefit of having Android built in, so you can use all of the Play Store games as well as more power intensive emulation. Another option is Old Faithful, the PS Vita, which I also have a lovely video about. What that can do in 2023 is actually crazy. It's so much more capable than a lot of people assume. So check out both of those as alternatives, but otherwise check out the link in the description for the Miyoo Mini Plus, and if you have any questions I'll try to answer them in the comments.